For several years, African Americans have thrived in a variety of fields, such as athletics, dance, music, and theater. African Americans have become innovators within each one of these fields. In sports, even when African Americans had to deal with segregation and being pushed out of professional baseball, they built their own leagues and continued to push forward. In the 1880s, African Americans were pushed out of baseball entirely. However, they reintegrated during the 1940s. In theater and film, African Americans face several barriers, and in films their characters portray the typical stereotypes of African Americans being uneducated people who spoke broken English. Several actors and actresses were forced to play the role of buffoons and simpletons. In theaters, whites also went as far as smearing black face paint or black chalk on their faces in order to portray themselves as blacks. During these plays, whites imitated black dance and simple speech. During the first 50 to 60 years after the abolition of slavery, there was a major focus within the black community on building their culture. As the black community began to develop culturally, we began to see a difference in African American social classes. The middle class was known for its leadership and created trends within the community. The middle class also had well-paying jobs and higher education. Between the working and middle class, there was a variation in the use of language. The middle class was thought to have a sense of professionalism, while the working class was very informal and participated in drinking and gambling activities. From 1910 to 1940, there was an increase in migration of African Americans from the suburban environment to the urban environment. This took place during the First World War because there were several modes of employment. In the urban communities, African Americans found that they had access to more opportunities and resources. Unfortunately, African Americans still face discrimination. However, the educational and employment opportunities were far greater than in the South rural areas. African American culture began to boom during this time period. Now mainly located in cities, African Americans were exposed to music, art, big bands, theaters, nightclubs, etc. During this era, the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Power movement was the main focus throughout the black community. The major goal of the Civil Rights Movement was to end the American apartheid and for integration in all aspects. The Black Power movement leaned towards praising the differences in the black culture from the white American culture. This movement also focused on providing blacks with a sense of power. In the music industry, African Americans truly thrived. They not only embraced, but shaped and created new genres of music such as jazz, rock and roll, blues, spirituals, and country. From 1945 to present, black culture has acquired two major concepts. The first looks at the various ways that black culture is different than white culture, and the second evaluates African American culture being vested in liberating African Americans from racist and economic exploitation. Through the music community and hip-hop culture, the tension between the two concepts can be seen. Hip-hop is an urban African American form of music. It was embraced by African American youth during this time period. The purpose of hip-hop was to be an outlet for artists to express their different issues they face within their communities. Another purpose of hip-hop was to exploit the social injustices and street violence. Although it has become commercialized, the artists are trying to maintain hip-hop and its original purpose of reaching out to the community.